together alone, appropriately for how creepy it ends up being most of the time, starts out with a dream. Or rather, I would say, a nightmare. In it, Steven, wearing his new pink diamond dress, is playing with a pink pearl. It is definitely not the pearl that we know as a member of the Crystal Gems. Together, they do happy, fun things in secret until it seems that their activities are noticed by the other diamonds, and then Steven, as Pink Diamond, is brought before White. Her pearl being taken away from her in the process. And it's at this point that Steven, again as Pink Diamond in this dream, begins coughing up chunks of Rose's hair. There is clear symbolism in here, as well as some allusions to what I imagine are going to be stories later on, maybe even within this same event. I certainly hope they're within the same event, because I don't want to wait to have to see them. Holy crap. But it's the coughing up of the hair in particular that really interested me here. There's a few different ways you could interpret it, and it could even mean all of these things at once, really. The writers, I think, are clever enough to pull something like that off. It seems that Steven is already feeling overwhelmed by the prospect of having to live as Pink Diamond, but at the same time it also seems that he's starting to remember more of Rose's memories, and coughing up that hair could be symbolic of that, of the threat that some aspect of Rose's identity is going to supersede his own. But it could also be symbolic of the fact that he is starting to, at least subconsciously, remember how overwhelming it was for Rose to be Pink Diamond the first time around. It's super interesting and super layered, and it does a really good job of making me want to see where the crew is going with this particular story, which is good, because it was at the beginning of the episode. That's clearly what it was supposed to do. Steven, though, wakes up from his nightmare, and he is in the process of preparing to throw the ball, which he hopes will bring all of the diamonds together for the first time in an era. And so he puts the dream out of mind, assuming that he remembers the dream at all. Most people don't really remember their dreams after they have them. It's possible that the dream was only for our benefit as the audience, an example of dramatic irony. We see Steven convince Blue and Yellow to let him throw the ball in the first place. They actually seem pretty excited, as this ball could mark the start of Era 3 and maybe see a change for Homeworld as a society overall. Because remember, things aren't going well for them. Resources are scarce on Homeworld. And then some scenes of him planning it. We see him work with Blue Diamond's Pearl and Yellow Diamond's Pearl. And this scene in particular was really interesting to me, because it doesn't seem like he's so much allowed to plan the ball as he is to just say that the ball is happening and then let it happen the same way that every single ball has ever happened, I guess. There's a very strict set of rules and regulations for what must go on at one of these things, and he's not allowed to deviate from that plan. And that's a super homeworldy kind of thing. It's not like I didn't expect that. It's just they hit you in the head with it really hard, a lot faster than I really thought that they would. But this leads into a conversation between Steven and the two Pearls about what it is that they enjoy doing. And we learn that Yellow Diamond's Pearl doesn't even understand the concept of fun, but Blue's is different. She does like to draw, as a large portion of the fandom has been theorizing for quite a while. And Blue Diamond even allows her to draw during court proceedings. She shows off some of her artwork. One of the drawings is of Yellow Diamond's Pearl, and in that moment, Yellow Diamond's Pearl realizes that she likes being a model for artists, which harkens back to a offhand scene in Jungle Moon where we saw that she took a selfie of herself and that it was stored in the computer there. It was just a neat little scene born of a scene which started out squashing the individuality of Steven, someone who is considered to be one of the diamonds, one of the leaders of the society, but ended with these two characters learning something about themselves. It was really cool. It was really well written. It was really layered, and it ended with Blue Diamond coming in, being a complete bitch to Steven and his friends, insulting Garnet, and then taking over planning the ball from Steven because he wasn't doing a very good job of it. Like, this entire scene, I feel, was a neat little microcosm of what this entire arc is going to turn out to be. But I'll talk about that in a minute. Then the ball happens, and Garnet has to come split up as Ruby and Sapphire because, of course, cross-gem fusions are not allowed in the Diamond's court. Pearl is only allowed to come as Steven's Pearl, and Amethyst has to come wearing limb enhancers because she's not as tall as other quartzes. The crystal gems have literally been shoved into the little boxes that Homeworld has assigned them to because that's the only way that they can come to this event and support Steven in his efforts to turn Wyat around to helping him. Like, Connie's there too, for example, but she's only allowed there if she pretends to be Steven's pet human. It's just so unsettling. Everything about it is unsettling. Like, we get to see a whole bunch of Diamond Court gems, and it's really neat to see them. They all have cool designs. A lot of them are, like, really aesthetically pleasing designs. And we can even see early on that some of them don't conform as much as others to the whole Diamond Society thing. So it's, like, all super interesting lore-wise, but it's just so unsettling to watch. And it only gets more unsettling when Wyat doesn't even show up. She sends her Pearl to represent her, which seems unthinkable considering what we know about pearls. But then again, Wyat Diamond's Pearl does seem to be a figure which even other diamonds find threatening. So maybe this was something that I should have expected. And honestly, I kind of did, really. And Wyat Diamond's Pearl, despite being a pearl, goes to sit on Wyat's giant throne, which sits above the other Diamond's throne. I think at this point, between the nightmare at the beginning and the behavior of Wyat Diamond's Pearl here, it's very clear that the fandom was right on a couple of different counts here. Wyat Diamond's Pearl is Pink Diamond's original Pearl somehow, and at this point she does function as some sort of avatar for Wyat Diamond herself. So Wyat Pearl watching this dance happen and seeming so satisfied by it, I think makes it pretty clear that Wyat Diamond herself is satisfied that this is happening. This pleases her. This machine-like precision behavior from the sentient beings that exist literally beneath her. It pleases her in some way or another. And Wyat Pearl's displeasure when Steven gets down from his throne to dance with Connie and they accidentally fuse once again into Stevonnie, it is likewise reflective of the fact that Wyat Diamond herself is displeased by this. And I do think she knows that it's happening. I do think that she is able to somehow, to some degree, perceive things through her Pearl's eyes or other senses. Even the damage to Wyat Pearl's eye could be symbolic of the fact that they aren't really her eyes. Wyat Diamond has forced her way through them, if that makes any sense. One way or another, though, with Stevonnie's appearance, the ball is ruined. Steven's not going to get what he wanted. At this point, he's not going to be able to conform to Diamond Society long enough to convince Wyat Diamond to join him. So Garnet refuses, and Pearl even makes a heroic stand along with Steven, sweeping Amethyst up off of her feet. And hold on a second. Is that Opal? Hi, Opal. Oh. Bye, Opal. Yeah, so everybody fuses. Like I said, Garnet refuses. Pearl and Amethyst fuse into Opal. Even a couple of the gems that we saw in the Diamond's Court earlier, the ones that seem to have more personality than the others, they fuse together too and declare that they will stand with Steven and the Crystal Gems, and that they knew they couldn't be the only ones who felt this way, proving that there are nonconformist gems even as high up as the Diamond's own court. But immediately, Yellow Diamond swoops in, uses her powers to poof all of them, and then Steven is taken away in a manner which is very purposefully reminiscent of when Pink Pearl was taken away from Pink Diamond in Steven's nightmare earlier that day. The implication here being that something as sinister as what happened to Pink Pearl to turn her into what she is now could be about to happen to Steven, or Stevonnie rather. He and Connie are still fused together at this point. And that's where the episode ends. We don't even get any resolution as to what happened to the other crystal gems. They are still in gem form, lying on the floor amidst the courts of blue and yellow diamond. It's an utterly terrifying resolution to what was just kind of a generally mildly creepy episode. It's not really a turnaround. It's not really a juxtaposition. It's just They took the creepiness and dialed it up to 11 all at once. And it happened amidst what back on Earth would have been a super triumphant moment, tearing the crystal gems down from their highest of highs. Already, Steven's plan to fit in with the other diamonds long enough to sway them and convince them to help him and maybe even change their ways has failed miserably. I didn't expect it to fail this early. I expected it to fail, but I didn't expect it to fail this early or this spectacularly. And I honestly have no idea how he and the other crystal gems are going to get out of this situation, because why wouldn't they just shatter the other crystal gems at this point? That seems a very diamondy thing to do. The only reason I can think of why they wouldn't do that is if White Diamond has some other plans for them, and therefore her Pearl, speaking with her authority, orders the other diamonds not to kill them. And I can't think of any reason why White Diamond would do that except to either use them as leverage against Steven, or to do to them what she did to Pink Diamond's original Pearl. And I can't decide which of those things, death, using them as leverage against Steven, or the last thing, I can't decide which of those is more terrifying. And I could literally sit here and talk about White Diamond, her Pearl, and the dynamic created between the two of them and the other diamonds by some of the context stuff in this episode for hours. I could talk about it for literal hours, but I'm not. I'm not going to do that in this video. I'm not going to bog this video down with that. I'm just going to say a lot was said here while saying very little. And I do plan to condense all of my thoughts down into something more concise and make an entire theory discussion style video out of it, so look forward to that in the coming weeks. I will say, though, that I'm starting to wonder just how much power the other diamonds actually have. Like I said, I'll be talking about this in more detail at a later date, but I do think there's something there. Something which may change the way that we view all of the diamonds entirely. I do think it is obvious now, though, that White Diamond is not going to help Steven. That Steven and the mentality that he carries with him and the mentalities of the other crystal gems, they do have the potential to change the minds of Homeworld gems. We see that in the scene with Steven helping Blue and Yellow Pearl to recognize things that they enjoy and what enjoyment even is. And in the scene where the various fusions of the crystal gems inspire those Diamond Court gems to stand up and fuse together as well. But regardless of whether or not that potential is there, here, under the thumb of Homeworld, in the Diamond's home court, at the end of the day, Steven is powerless here. As Pink Diamond, he may have a certain amount of power, but he doesn't have any intention to wield it in any way that the rest of the Diamond Authority would actually recognize. This was a fantastic episode. It was better than the previous episode, which I also thought was pretty freaking great. I have only the vaguest idea of what might happen next in the story, and I am very, very excited to actually see what happens next with my own eyes. I haven't been this excited for a new episode of Steven Universe in a very, very long time. And you guys know how excited I get about each new episode of this show, so that should say something. The tone conveyed by these last couple of episodes has just been so great. There's like this almost tangible, almost palpable sense of overwhelming, oppressive fear layered on top of everything. It's just so good. And this is a kids show. This is all happening in a kids show. Like, how crazy is that? How crazy is it that we have finally reached a point where kids shows are able to tackle stories this complex and this mature so effectively? And I didn't even get to mention any of the neat parallels between this and other Stevonnie episodes. This is obviously an episode named for another Stevonnie episode. Like, usually Stevonnie, the formation of Stevonnie is something which is liberating to Steven and Connie and maybe even to the people around them. It's a moment which inevitably leads to some sort of upward character progression, some positive character progression, but here it marked the moment when Steven's plan failed and hope was seemingly lost. Like, how wild is that? That's a juxtaposition for you. That's such a reversal of expectations, it almost gives you whiplash. And yet, even at the same time, Stevonnie's formation here is not portrayed as a negative thing. The negatives of the situation were definitely external to that. They definitely came from Homeworld itself. As per usual, I'd like to know, what do you guys think of Together Alone, if you have seen it. If you haven't seen it, I don't know why you watched this video, which spoiled it horribly. Let's get a discussion going in the comments section down below, or over my Discord, link in the description. I promise I still actually go there and read what people post, even if I don't reply. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.